Roohif, if we measure water not to be curving, would you take a huge ayahuasca journey?
Sure.
Instead of going to the mental ward, you can just go to the spiritual healing ward, and then would you do it then?
Yep. Sure.
Would
Take
you
you
really?
to the shaman first before the white padded room.
That's pretty awesome that you're even, unless you're just completely joking, but that you'd have because it takes a lot of like soul strength in a way. Like you're like when we do these ceremonies, like it's not like necessarily some kind of party. Like it's not like, woo. I mean, people are, yeah. I mean, there can be a lot of joy and stuff in these, but I mean, it's like we all have like reverence for each other's bravery to take on the complexity of the inner and outer worlds of the human mind and this human soul and spirit. It always has a positive outcome, but it's like bravery. It's like being a real, like, you know, like astronauts or like that whole thing. Well, this is like an astronaut of consciousness.
Yep.
No, but for real. So wait, would you really actually do it though? Like if we measured water to not be curving, let's say, and we actually absolutely showed you without any question that like the Earth is not a globe, would you like, okay, right now that you're in the globe thing, you would probably not do ayahuasca, even if we're all going. Would you even be down for it now? Or would you need something wild to change?
I would need to be convinced we're living in a simulation or that I'm insane.
Well, ayahuasca will help you become uninsane. That's what it does. That's what it's.
We're gonna have you astral projecting in no time.
Astronaut. No, but I kind of was like somewhat serious. We were talking about DMT a little bit, but I'm kind of serious, Roohif. If like, okay, because you're saying that right now you wouldn't do it. No, let's say we're all going to do ceremony. Would you actually come for real or not? Let's say it's all paid for. Who cares? You have enough money anyways.
To watch?
No,
to watch you guys do drugs.
No, we're gonna do drugs, bro.
No, it's not drugs.
You're doing them.
When people say doing drugs when you're just like burning a tree.
No, yeah, I know. People say, I know. You're just burning a plant. No, but with ayahuasca, it's plants into a liquid. It's natural. One of them is a vine that grows up these huge trees, Banisteriopsis caapi, and the other plant is a leaf. It's actually in the same family as coffee, but it doesn't have any caffeine or anything. It's called chacruna, or
you scared of a vine and some decaf coffee, bro? Come on, Roohif.
Psychotria viridis. Well, no, it's not.
Coffee, Roohif?
It's only in the same family. It's only in the same family. It's not actually, it doesn't have anything to do with like actual coffee, but it contains a DMT. Anyways, it's a plant mixture. But no, we would be in a beautiful.
When he drinks coffee, he's doing drugs, according to himself.
Right. Yeah, if you drink coffee. Do you drink coffee, Roohif?
I do.
Okay, so anyways,
you're an addict.
No, we would be, no, I'm saying if you're like a beautiful retreat center in South America, you have your own like private room, everything's absolutely gorgeous, like even somewhat luxury, you know, because there's different ones, but I'm saying like to do them on this, there's also that, like there's all different options, but anyways, it would be like that, like very like high class in that way, but you're doing ayahuasca ceremonies where, you know, you're drinking ayahuasca like every other night or whatever for, you know, depending on how long you'd be there. What I'm saying is that now in your current state, even if we were all going to do that, it's all paid for and everything, just complete. Like, would you even do it out of your own exploration or interest currently? No, not at all. We couldn't even if you were invited and it was all paid for, you wouldn't even say yes.
No. You would have to pay me a substantial amount of money.
You would have to be paying money to do it.
How much? $100,000.
Sure.
You do it for 50?
I'll take his spot.
I think it's come down. I think we were like
300
before. Now we're down to 50. He came down.
I didn't say 50.
Last time we talked about this.
No, but okay, 75. So you need to be negotiating.
All right, is that okay? But what if you were shown a test of water not curving, and you were absolutely shown that Earth isn't a sphere? Would you then do it for free?
Sure.
So right now
then
you need to be
gotta
paid
pay us.
100
Now,
grand.
fuck that. You got to pay us after. If we show you it's not a sphere, then now you're paying us 100 G's. We want 150 now.
Dude, I mean, I kind of brought this up somewhat in jest, but like, are you actually serious that if you were shown the Earth's not a sphere, you would actually be more open to it? For what reason? Because you feel like you'd be going crazy, so you might as well just figure it out at that point, or what?
Yeah. Yes.
He
What's the
wouldn't even
point?
care if he died at that point.
Yeah, but nobody dies after ayahuasca. Everyone's life just becomes better, and it's like improving on multiple levels. So it would only
Well,
be better.
think about it, Gio. You just crushed his whole worldview. What do you think he's gonna do?
Well, I mean, I guess everybody's different. Like, would that be a huge crisis for you, Roohif? Because for me, it wasn't really that much of a crisis. It was actually just a nice transition to seeing what a lot of the things that were false in our world.
We've had this discussion before, right? We came to our beliefs, I think, by vastly different means, vastly different methods. And I think you know what I mean, right? I think the reasons you guys think the Earth is flat are shit.
Whatever, dude. Whatever, man. I think
Could
the
you just
reasons you think
give us
Earth is a
one of our
globe is
shit
shit.
reasons?
I think the reason you think Earth is a globe is shit. Now what?
Cool.
Cool.
Roohif's going to end up realizing the Earth's not a globe, and then he's going to become a shaman, and he's going to be like 70 years old as a wise shaman in South America, helping people heal from the world.
That's your life
I talked
path.
about my
Roohif.
brother the other night, didn't I? I said my brother was a gambling addict. He had like PTSD from the army, being a military policeman, and then went to become a fucking yoga teacher.
Yeah, yeah, you mentioned that. That's interesting. What? So yoga's not quite ayahuasca, but what kind of yoga? Just like you
No
doing
idea.
yoga like stretches and stuff, or like?
I think so. He's a little bit alternative. He sort of does yoga with veterans with PTSD.
Oh, that's cool, man. I mean, yoga actually is healing. I mean, do you just write off yoga? I mean, dude, it's like breathing and stretching ultimately, but it's more than that. I mean, do you think it has benefits?
Oh, yeah, physical and mental, yes. I don't think it's magic.
It also detoxifies you because if you do the breathing, like the deep breaths, that's part of it. That's actually really good to get more oxygen and helps detox and rejuvenate the body. A lot of people don't get enough oxygen with all the like low breathing, with all the toxins and little mild infections and stuff people got going on. Some
I
people.
mean,
Do you all remember
Roohif,
Flat Earth
magic is
Fokker?
just science. Magic is just science you don't understand yet. That's all.
All right.
Ooh.
Flat Earth Fokker. He used to
And a
own a
fucking
yoga
arm
studio.
wrestle, fucking Rob for the mic for that one. Damn it.
So I let you have it. I was just gonna
I
say,
know,
Flat Earth
bro.
Fokker, years ago, he had a yoga studio. I signed up for a couple months, and then he passed away. It's pretty sad, but I was a member of his little yoga studio. He did hot yoga. It was pretty cool. Sweaty as fuck.
Yeah, didn't
It
he
was
get
pretty
shut
cool.
down during COVID?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then he
Yeah.
passed away.
Yeah.
It's sad. I
I
miss
know.
that guy.
Yep.
Close.
Yeah, I don't know what happened there. Some people speculate, but
He died of a drug overdose. They eventually released the autopsy report or the tox report.
You sure about that, Roof?
I followed up with a journalist a few months later, and she didn't know. And then 6 months later, the toxicology report came out.
well, if it's not slanderous and it actually is official or whatever, and I mean, it fits his private business as well. But did it say what drug it was?
I forget. Fuck, what was his name again?
Well, I mean, are we talking like some kind of heroin-y thing or fentanyl-y thing? Or are we talking about some like pharmaceutical that he was like prescribed for
Yeah,
some
more
medication shit?
pharmaceutical thing it was. Yeah, I forget though. Like it was a while back, obviously.
I thought he died of like COVID, they said.
No, he had COVID, and that sort of made things a bit worse.
I mean, that's weird because he was like protesting against the COVID stuff, and It seems like just strange. He was like, his yoga studio got shut down, and he refused to shut it down because of COVID. He was basically just like, "Fuck you." He put the middle finger, and they basically like evicted him and like made him stop. And then he was like, he went to that the Flat Earth meetup, that Karen B thing. And then when he came back into the country, into Canada, he was told to like he had to quarantine for like 2 weeks. You know, like stay in his home, and he couldn't leave his home for 2 weeks. Like nothing. You can't. If you want pizza, you got to get it delivered. If you want anything, like you're stuck at effing home. You can't even go outside basically for like 2 weeks. And he basically also was just like middle finger that. So he was just going out doing shit. And he was also doing live streams during that time, being like, yeah, fuck this shit. I'm not doing it. And he was just doing these live streams and just like saying, you know, and then like apparently like his neighbor like saw the live streams and like snitched on him and like called the cops, and the cops actually came. And I don't know, Roohif, maybe you even know more of some of the stuff. I mean, a lot of that stuff he was just live streaming. I'm not like sharing anything that was not like publicly known when it was all going down. And then it was sometime after that they like say he got COVID. He was doing all those COVID protests as well. It's just weird that then they say that he got the disease and then all of a sudden died. Like, I don't know, dude. If they, I honestly, I think there could have been some foul play there. Like, in no way of like, I mean, blessings to him and like rest in peace and all of that good stuff. Like much because he was a beautiful soul, as we all are. And so, I mean, I send love to him as a person, but I think it's okay to still question what may have happened there. And I don't know, dude, he was like actually like a target for the government because he went against the shutting his business down. He went against the lockdown thing that they wanted him to do. And then he was also going to all these protests. So like, even if they say drug overdose, like there could have been some foul play there. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, just trying to figure out what his name was. Hold on.
I mean,
Matt
it is kind
Palmer.
of it is kind of conspiratorial to think that they actually took him out or something because that's pretty extreme. But I have heard some people have theories on that.
Here we go. February 2023. COVID critic had illness but died of drug overdose. What was it? Yeah, so he tested positive for COVID, but
I didn't think he was any. I didn't think he was like some like meth or heroin or like opiates. I mean, I didn't get that. I don't unless he was just doing it off camera or whatever. But so not that
fentanyl.
kind
There
of
you
stuff.
go. Fentanyl overdose.
All right. Well, it doesn't really ring true to me, but I haven't really put enough thought into it to think about.
According to BC Coroner Service report, Makan Singh Pahar died accidentally from a mix of alcohol, fentanyl, and cocaine.
Whoa, all three.
Yeah, I'll stick a link. One sec. Oh, it's got COVID in the link. Sorry.
I mean, dude, they say Jimi Hendrix died of a drug overdose. That is just false. So yeah, I think that one's false. So I don't know. They do use that as a cover, but I'm not like making any claims. I haven't really thought enough about it, but I've always wondered with that situation. Because dude, I mean, he was like in the news and he was really raising a ruckus. Because dude, in Canada, no one's really doing that. You know, like actually, like people in Canada pretty much obey the government compared to the U.S. Like in like certain places. So he was like making all the like mainstream news, like flat earther, you know, refuses to quarantine. And he refused to shut down his business. He was like on TV. Do you remember that? He was being interviewed on TV. It's like, why? Yeah. Anyway, so you're just gonna let loose. If you find out the Earth's not a globe, you're gonna let loose, and you're willing to do all of it. Or you're gonna do high dose peyote ceremonies with us? Are you ready to do that? Sure.
Like literally whatever you like. Heroin, fucking whatever. Doesn't
No,
matter.
heroin.
That's why I was telling you, he doesn't care. I heard it in his voice earlier. He doesn't even care if he lived or died after that. So nothing matters. He'll do whatever. He'll jump out of a plane, no shoe. What do you want to do, Roohif?
No, dude,
Anything
heroin.
but-
Nobody needs heroin, dude. That's awful.
No, but he doesn't. That's what I'm saying. Nothing matters after that. You know what I'm saying?
But don't
him.
don't go bootstrapping heroin and end up dead. That's not. No one needs to that. You don't need to do that.
But why not? Like, what's the?
Well, you could. I mean, I guess you could. Well, I don't really, dude. I'm kind of like asking you questions because, okay, just so everyone else knows, and Roohif, from your own mouth, you have really felt like if the Earth isn't a sphere, you've said before that you would check yourself into a a mental institution.
Mental institution. Yes.
You actually would voluntarily check yourself in.
Would I even have sort of free will? Like just the whole, like it's weird because I know you guys are thinking, oh, he's so scared of having his Earth-shaped paradigm messed with. That's not it at all. Right? It's my rationality that is in question.
Yeah.
Well, everyone has a
The
map.
way I know things.
No, I got you.
Well, everyone has a map of the world in their head, and at the foundation they put the globe. So I mean, it's a big thing for people.
Well, he describes it like it's not, but he's not even saying, okay, Roohif, would it? But it is the shape though, isn't it, to some degree? Because like, okay, do you have concerns that if it is not a globe, then there's a power structure that you don't think could be that evil or something like that?
No, my way of reasoning to truth would be completely broken, and that is scary.
That would mean that you have no way to get to truth. You have no tools that are
Pretty
effective.
much, yeah.
Do you think
Go ahead.
so whatever, just trying to work out. So if the Earth were flat and you thought it was a globe, you would hold up a sign, like as the like a solo individual, sort of challenging the paradigm. Would you like? Yeah, I'm trying to flip it and see how you'd feel like you'd react.
Would I be like you guys
So,
trying to sort of, bring it to the mainstream?
society. Yeah, pretty much.
Cool.
Yeah.
Probably, yeah.
But you'd be with us?
Probably, yeah.
But for real, do you think you would be impassionate about actually like, would you see it as like almost like a cause of sorts? Like if we're being lied to and then what the Earth actually is, like for Mother Earth and for like recovering.
Maybe.
Because you're like, theoretically, right? You're just potentially more comfortable talking publicly about this because the public position is on a grander scale that it is a globe, and so the question would be like, would you have the courage to come out as the potential insane person? But you just said that you put yourself in an insane asylum. If you disagreed with the consensus, or you're basing it on some sort of personal identification, though, or rationale.
Not disagreeing with consensus. It's my rationality would be broken.
The Earth could be a globe, and we could still be lied to. That's not exclusive to FE.
Cool. Yep.
Not quite the complex being put forward, but yeah, I agree with you.
Yeah, Roohif, it's like you're saying it's like your epistemological approach to truth and knowledge would have to be in some way broken, you're saying, because you have looked into the whole thing and if you came to the wrong conclusion. But I mean, is it a bit harsh on yourself calling it broken? Like, what if it's just like slightly misaligned? Now, I guess
I don't see how it can be. That's the thing.
But like you and I or any of us, like we're not that different in terms of like people. Like if we were just hanging out, we'd be considered like if some aliens came here and like analyzed us, we would be similar in a lot of ways, even though we have different views. So there, even though we've come to different conclusions, I mean, dude, the shape of the Earth thing is a big deal. Like the way that it works with the sky and the spherical planar, like sorting this all out. Like, I mean, I don't think you'd have to like sell yourself short. Like, dude, I mean, this, in my viewpoint, the deception has fooled the entire world. There's a lot of very intelligent people out there. They might just not be specialists in the Earth. Now, you might be considered somewhat more of a specialist in the Earth in certain ways because of how much you've looked into things. But even with those, like, it doesn't even necessarily have to be irrational how you came to those conclusions, and some of them. But you just used, like, you had a different, well, I don't know. I guess you'd have to figure that out, like, for yourself, how you came to such a different conclusion. But I mean, even if you feel like you're like, even if it was like broken in that way, wouldn't you just feel like you would just have to like dust yourself off, pick up, and then move forward?
Yeah, dude, you can't just go abandoning your kids and put yourself in an asylum. That would be silly, wouldn't it?
It would depend on how I was wrong.
Okay, well, how about like with refraction? If you're wrong about something in there. Because that's like a lot of your view on it, right? Because you don't really go off like moon landing or any other kind of space pictures or stuff. and your theodolites. I don't know, dude. Are you really that confident in the Globe? I mean, dude, even like in the mainstream, like
Yes.
they like, because even like in the mainstream vibe is like not. I mean, I guess they are pretty like 100%.
Yeah, there's no dispute in the mainstream. Literally none.
Well, do you think you just have a fear that you would lose your mind or whatever, but actually you would just adapt and then move forward in whatever way?
Maybe.
Like,
Yeah, maybe.
I mean, dude, because I could go through all of your arguments and give you, like, whether you agree with me or not, I could give you viable alternatives as to what's going on there. And I mean, you might not think I'm right, or you might think whatever, but I think if we were judged by like a third party for just like logic and whatever, they would be comparable, just to make it neutral. So coming to a completely different conclusion about the Earth might not be as far off than you might think. But there are a couple things that you would have to obviously have explained as to why, like for you, your theodolite. See, I think that's because there's a spherical nature to how we see. Like, what if just basically the way we're saying it is the case? A lot of us, like, and just making a generalized that is planar, and then there's a spherical way in which how we see. That's all you'd have to flip.
You had any, what's the word? Rather than just saying that's how we see, if you had some sort of explanation in terms of geometry or something to back it.
I guess what I would say more so is that sometimes the way we see reflects like that 3959 radius value. And when I say sometimes, because there's different conditions.
Are you like, I don't know, I'm just trying to work this out. Like, where all this science really came from, as far as Newton, Francis, they were all they're all alchemists. They were heavy huffering drugs, man. Like,
So half of you guys, like, what the hell?
no, but like, I'm just kind of, and then what's kind of interesting at the extent of that is that, what is it? You've got Globers about, and when they get to the end of human perception, they say that is where God is. But then you'll deny them that. But I don't know, just the fact that other people can do that and arrive in that comfortable place should imply that there are many different ways to interpret this reality. And what we are effectively talking in the bigger picture of the cosmology, it is at the extent of our perception and our sensorial sort of logic and what we can deal with. So just a bit surprised that you say that you go to an insane asylum.
Yeah.
Because you should know that like other people articulate this world at the extent of their perception in many different ways, and they can be very successful still. It's irregardless of that final interpretation it was seeing.
Yeah, like Roohif, I wouldn't even. Okay, so I mean, dude, wouldn't you agree? Like, if you and I see it totally differently about what the Earth is, obviously, you think that anyone who thinks the Earth is stationary and planar is somehow fundamentally flawed, and then somebody who has a planar stationary would. I mean, I'm not trying to say it would be an insult to you or anything, but they would have to think that you're fundamentally flawed, right? Just logically.
Haven't seen the light or whatever. However you want to put it.
Yeah, so one of us would be logical or somehow deeply flawed, because obviously a stationary plane versus a spinning globe are very different.
Yeah.
But if you found out you were, see, dude, if I found out I was fundamentally flawed, I just, to me, I don't know where like the mental institute part comes in. Like what would lead you to do that, or to like go wild and like go driving Ferraris off of cliffs or whatever? Like why so dramatic if it's just something about the physical world that you had misaligned?
Yeah, it comes back to, you said like I would think you were fundamentally flawed and you would think I was fundamentally flawed. There is an asymmetry here, which we've talked about 1,000 times. We have a model that makes predictions about reality, and those predictions come true. You don't.
You would have had to have put yourself in an insane asylum in the past because you were a glober, right? And everyone else thought it was flat. And what is it, based on your assessment of society? Because that's where insane people go, right? To the insane asylum. and that's just when you disagree with the consensus. So you would have had to put yourself in an insane asylum back in the past.
32.
He didn't say he would go to the insane asylum because of disagreeing with consensus. It's because of his ability to what'd you say? Because you're
My rationality would be broken.
yeah, that has nothing to do with consensus. That has to do with him and how he sees things.
Oh man, a lot of the stuff that Roohif is using, the tools, the methodology, has been developed by the mainstream, and he's just like following that similar course. And perhaps if Roohif did something novel, and I know that you don't like the celestial theodolite, but that is like technically a novel tool and technique. So I mean, he's not disagreeing with consensus because he's using the consensus tools and methodology to arrive at the instantiation. You're not like we're not breaking any sort of original bounds here.
I'll give you the celestial theodolite is novel, but we have an atmosphere and no one's on the mountain making an observation. And he keeps using freaking globe geometry to calculate distances and star positions. Like, what the hell?
So if the sky is where you guys get into it, man, you think it's globe geometry, you're basically just claiming territory for no apparent reason. Actually, you're using the apparentness to claim the reason. If one would apply like a celestial sphere, then and that's the way that you view the sky, then we're going to arrive at the same mathematics, unfortunately. So you'd have to show that independently somehow.
If we live on a plane, we should use planar geometry to calculate the distance between 2 points. If we live on a sphere, we should use spherical geometry.
Two different like, dude, are you pointing to the sky and saying 2 different points, or are you talking about the GPs or something?
No, distances between points.
Yeah, to the star, from the observer to the star.
No, distance between 2 points on the ground.
So what, between the observer and the mountain?
But yeah, sure. Any 2 points.
You're saying that they're using globe geometry when they claim the distance from the observer to the mountain?
Yes.
Really?
They are.
How is that? How are they? So just because there's a measured distance across the surface, how is that using globe geometry?
Calculated distance. They didn't measure it.
So you're saying that they have to independently go out there with a tape measure and measure the distance, like not get it off Google or something? Is that your proposition? Because Google is globe geometry at that point, right?
They can't use globe geometry.
You keep making that statement. I'm asking clarification of what you mean by geometry, and you seem to be sort of unable to unpack it a bit more.
Formula. They use the Haversine formula, which gives you the distance between 2 points on the surface of a sphere.
Yeah, but don't confuse the spherical sky. Don't confuse the spherical sky measurements for the ground being a sphere. If you're saying they're using globe XYZ, that can be the actual celestial sphere. Although I don't know exactly what you're referring to, but like
2 points on the ground,
like a planetarium.
No, 2 points on the ground. What is the distance between them? They use Haversine.
So you're saying if I got the distance off Google, I'm using Haversine?
Using Vincenti, which is a better version, but sure, yes.
And so as I tried to articulate this before, so you think that that's automatically that distance on the ground is automatically a globe measurement?
It's calculated under the assumption that the Earth is a sphere, yes. If you're somehow concluding that the Earth is not a sphere by this method, you cannot use globe geometry to calculate your distance.
So if they got out, once again, I'll arrive at this question for you. If they got out a tape, you're expecting them to get a tape measure or something? Because no one really disagrees with the general proximity of from the observer to the mountain 50 kilometers if we can't measure that accurately. Like we obviously talk in here of concavity in lake waters and measurements provided by satellites. Now, I'm happy to entertain that principle, but you'd say I probably can't use that because it's a globe satellite or something at that point.
You just can't use globe geometry to calculate a distance between 2 points. I put this in a video.
You can't use globe. Dude, no one's disagreeing. We both agree that the distance from the mountain to the observer is the same. You're just saying it's globe geometry at that point. So,
right.
I mean, what if I got in my car, I put the odometer, pressed it to 0, and then drove presumably as straight as I possibly could to the mountain peak? Would that be a measurement of the distance that's not using globe math?
Yes, but
okay,
then you
so
would
wait
have
up. If I go do that anywhere in the world, right, I can go do that with my vehicle, and I can show that basically what appears to be on the ground. Yeah, I'm not using globe math, but if I go take my car and drive I don't even need it to specifically do it between the observer and the distance to the mountain. I can go do that anywhere. I can go take just a 100-meter road, and I can show that. Well, I mean, my 100 meters that I measured over here is the same as what's being presented on Google Maps. I'm not trying to use the Haversine formula, but I can prove it using my odometer in my car, right?
Right. Now,
Cool. So I don't need to worry about your Haversine formula and using globe math at that point, because I can verify independently that the map is, it's like it reflects reality just using the odometer in my car. So we can move on from that argument, I think, at that point.
No, we can't. Two things.
Anyone else wants to jump in? Go for it.
Two things. You said you can verify it, right? There's been a lot of conversation here in the last couple of weeks about, but have you verified it, right? So there's that separate, right? Secondly, if that distance that you do measure consistently matches the globe predictions, what is your conclusion?
That they're backwards deriving the globe predictions and this Haversine formula, which I can't critique personally. I have heard Alan put forward a critique of it, but I'm not capable. But just merely the fact that I can go, I can actually just bypass that entire conversation simply just by pointing out that I can measure it in my car. So whatever's on that map, I'm not using Haversine. I'm just looking at that map and going, well, the map's correct, and because my odometer's correct. Or otherwise you're going to say my transmission's out or my wheels are too wide, you know. But
I'm going to say you haven't verified that distance.
I have. I've done it with my odometer.
No, you haven't. You could, but you haven't.
Well, that would require then that all the cars that have odometers in the world and whatever's showing up on Google Maps are somehow dramatically out or something. And I would presume that if that were the case, there would be many a story about it, sort of indicating that there's a discrepancy between people's odometers and what the GPS distance is. And I mean, I'm not familiar with that. So once again, I don't even feel like we need to. So I think I don't even need to use your math problem. I don't need to work out how you've squirreled this away. I can just verify that it is correct. The map is reflective of reality using the odometer.
The bigger story is that if there were distances that didn't match the sphere, that would be the big story. Guess what? There aren't. I know why. I know why that is.
Is it because you're a very clever boy and you took someone else's tools and methodology and just said, they're correct? Yeah, nice, buddy.
I didn't derive the Haversine. I know how it works. Like I've seen it derived.
Look, at the end of every scientific research endeavor is the peer review. Ironically, at the baseline of peer review is human beings, so they are fallible. That's the part you got to get your head around. Well, that's the part I had to get my head around. That's the scientific method, which purports that it removes the human problem from the dilemma. It doesn't. It's actually capped off by the human dilemma, the peer review and corruption that's going on. So if you're using like these particular tools and techniques that lead you to a certain conclusion, one might wonder why those tools and techniques are made so freely available.
Okay, so the way I interpret what you just said, right? So the Haversine formula is like a geometric thing, right? And you draw a circle here and there and blah, 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 and get the angles, right? For that to be wrong, like geometry has to be wrong, right? This is what I mean when I say my rationality would be broken if the Earth was flat.
How do you test this Haversine formula? How do you,
You compare the
what's
distances.
Oh, so you can compare the distances in reality now.
Yeah. Yes. And I
So you
have
just
using
you're doing
flight
this like
times.
because the formula shows like an accuracy. The formula must be true, absolutely true. And I'm
No.
very suspicious, right, that this formula is derived from some observation in the sky.
No. No. The locations, the points are generally the latitude and longitude are generally derived from the sky, but then they are divorced from that. Once you have these locations, right, it does not matter then that they were derived from the sky. Same as the meter, right? The meter was derived from a meridian arc. Once you have that length, it's now a physical fucking stick that you can hold. How many sticks are there between Sydney and Santiago? I can calculate that and compare it to flight times. Right. And
You say the
it
meter?
doesn't
I thought the
fail.
meter was derived for something to do with the speed of light. Was it the
Oh, it is
meridian?
now. Yeah. It is now. But it was the distance between the poles and the equator.
So what did that happen to be exactly the same, or was that
No,
accidental? Is the
it
meter
was
reduced or increased or something?
like previously when it was first done, it was the distance between the North Pole and the equator through Paris, right? That was the definition of 10,000 kilometers. All right. When they realized that's not a great definition, they then made it defined by the speed of light.
Is it the same distance, or did they have to change it a little bit?
Yeah, well, it is now. Like
So
it was
that's a curious
x
thing. So
long, right? It was x long, and then the speed of light is a constant. So they said how long would it take to travel 1 meter? It's 1 over the speed of light. So they're self-referential, if that makes any sense. It's just now defined differently, and the second is now defined by vibration of cesium atoms rather than
it happened like defined differently, but happens to arrive at the same conclusion.
not happens to by design.
Ah, so I mean, you do recognize that you can backwards derive something, and then basically assert it upon reality, right?
At the end of this, we have a stick, right? And the length of that stick, we're going to call a meter. How many of those sticks between me and you?
Sorry, what are you asking? What distances of
You're trying
9
to,
sticks? How many sticks?
eh?
I missed the start of it. I was
Yeah.
thinking about something else.
How many of these physical lengths? It doesn't matter how this physical length was derived, be it from the meridian or from the speed of light.
The
At the end of it,
meridian's based on the size of the Earth. No,
right?
it's like some sort
Yeah,
of
but
proportional aspect of the world. You know, that's not just like
by
some
definition,
length of stick that you found somewhere. It's actually something that's, uh, it's
yeah. But we could have said, right? It's
derived from the
10,000.
sky.
It's 10 million of those meters. A meter is 1/10 millionth of that distance. We could have said it's 1 millionth of the distance, and our measuring stick would be 10 times longer, right? It's arbitrary, all right? You just have this definition of how this physical thing that I have at the end, we're going to call it a meter. How many of those are between Sydney and Santiago? You're
Yeah,
trying to
I
make
appreciate
this
where you're going
reverse
from it.
engineered kind of conspiracy thing, and it's just not. It is an arbitrary length.
But I can't spend too much longer talking. I don't know if anyone else wants to jump in. I do appreciate the exchange. Yeah, I really got to get back to work and get some of this stuff fixed off before tomorrow.
All right, have fun.
I'd love to talk to you, Roohif. I'm just finishing
Would
up
you
at
though?
work. Give me a little bit.
All right.
Got some bendy cranes in chat. Somebody just typed bendy crane. Gatebreaker, did you see this image that Gemsy posted earlier? See what I just posted?
Yeah.
Isn't that pretty sweet?
Yeah. That's
Showing the two poles. Gatebreaker, do you feel like you've ever seen a picture of the globe that looked like fully real to you?
Nope, but I know it has to be a globe.
Well, if you think it is a globe, do you think any of the ones they're showing us are the real one?
It may not have to be, and our understanding of how light and bends and stuff could still be wrong. But I'm saying it has to be a globe because I trust the large amount of long distance transportation happening, and by long distance I mean like across the world type stuff, via planes and boats and stuff, and the large amount of them happening all the time. I trust those. I trust that humanity is getting from point A to point B reliably on time for business. I trust that that's happening.
Okay.
And that's step one. And then step two is I understand the geometry and distance differences, not so much mathematically, but just seeing it visually. And I know that there's no way, shape, or form that one can equals one. I know that there's a major breaking point that's going to occur somewhere when you have a globe and you have flat, any kind of flat. There is a major breaking point that's going to occur in distances somewhere, both ground and sky, and so like on boats and on planes. And they can't be the same. And it's not like 10%, 20%, 50%. It's akin to the Gleason's Antarctica and the dual poles Antarctica. That difference, that's the equals the breaking point amount in distance, and it's going to occur when you switch between globe and flat. And I trust that the boats and planes, which are in the thousands, are going from point A to point B and the speed and time that they say it is, and it only works on one model.
Just, I don't know if this is a parallel or not, but I mean, you trust the numbers, and then I sort of go, well, I don't trust the economics. I know they're screwing around with that, dollar values and stuff, but I mean, so why couldn't they screw around with distances and times a little bit?
Seems like
And
things
that-
are off all the time, like just delays, as well. All kinds of, but I'm not saying that's like a huge formulated argument, but there are a lot of things are not on time, like very often, it seems like.
And that thing that I just shared doesn't specifically mean a convex globe, just a globe shape inside or out, because the numbers are basically the same. But if you were to take that and put it flat, you're going to have somewhere really, really, really with the massive discrepancies. And I don't think that they could hide it. Hiding a moon landing, moon distances, distance to planets, scale, size of the planets is one thing, but not all of humanity fucking going everywhere thousands of times per day reliably. I don't think so.
There's really not that many people transitioning from Australia to South America direct. It's almost always going. That's why I always found the AE map at least a little bit curious. The way the internet lines are laid out. Like, I know you probably wouldn't go from south, like the bottom south section, and you try to follow the populations, but your shipping routes, yeah, and all your sort of population centers, and you got the Santiago to Sydney, I recognize, but That's like one. That's the only one that they really need to fudge or fiddle with, I think. I don't know. Are there other ones that are significant?
Sydney, Johannesburg, Sao Paulo to Johannesburg. Anything in the south, pretty much.
Well,
There
would all
will
of
be
us
a flight that breaks any other map.
would all of us agree that for the Earth shape to not be what we were told, there would have to be some deception going on in the GPS and distances system? Does everyone agree to that?
Probably. Yep.
Okay, so Gatebreaker or Roohif, if you guys consider the nature of how that deception could do it, could sell a plane to us as a Globe Earth to the public.
There is a time between getting on a plane and getting off a plane.
Yeah,
That's known. And
they
there are
fluctuate,
varying
but yeah,
distances. Right.
pretty
But,
consistent.
like,
But I
critical
mean,
thing.
they're consistent at an average, but they fluctuate. Day
Critical
to
thing
day.
got on a plane, live streamed as he's getting on the plane, videoed the entire flight, and then live streamed again when he got off.
How fast was he going?
I think 600 and something miles generally. Wow.
How do you know that?
Oh, as in, like, do I think it's going super fast?
Yep.
Right. Planes, the planes are specified going about 0.83 Mach, which is 560, and they usually have about 50 to 60 mile per hour tailwinds, according to the data.
So they go up higher altitude, less pressure, go faster.
Less thrust. They're not rockets. Planes need air to fly.
What would you do? You'd have to look at the RPMs on the engine or something.
Oh, yeah.
I think that would help. That'll tell you what's going on.
Back in 2 minutes.
Mic check. What's happening in here?
Oh, we're talking about all kinds of stuff. I think somebody just said they were going to step away for a minute. Maybe Roohif.
So there was a blackout in Venezuela, and the mining companies also had blackouts, and some airplanes came in and allegedly took 850 tons of silver of Venezuela.
Well, they just handed it over.
Who's gonna resist?
Wouldn't they, like, if you've got 800 pounds of silver just sitting where you reckon it's not guarded, that's just
Tons, bro, tons.
tons of silver not guarded.
No, remember that you imagine think about who took the silver. Guess.
I don't know, SEAL Team 6? I don't know which one.
No, the Russians and the Chinese. They already were there. They already knew. They were the ones operating the whole thing.
So when you say take, are you meaning like steal, or are you implying that it was handed over?
Well, I imagine that it has to be some type of transaction at that end, right? But that's supposed to be the people's reserve, because if there's like an emergency or something, they're supposed to have gold and silver to kind of like cover whatever emergency, right? But the gold, England took it. I mean, they handed the gold to England, thinking they were gonna do something with it, but they don't have the gold anymore, and now the silver was taken the same night that the president was taken out.
What? Sorry. When have they killed Maduro?
No, they
No, they took it out of
took him.
office. But the silver was taken out too.
Yeah, like this Trump fella, he got elected on the back of getting rid of the world wars, and off we go again. It happens every time, apparently.
You know what happened with this
did it.
silver? That this
Biden did
is not
it.
gonna go to the market. The silver is gonna go to reserves of the Russians as the Chinese. It's not gonna see the day of the light day. It's gonna be like it's reserved for those nations, which is good for them though. But the Americans should have taken that. But yeah, the Russians were there already, and the Chinese as well. So yeah, they knew something, huh? Is it a coincidence? Don't think so. So Venezuela is broke though, right now, completely broke. No reserves, no silver, no gold. Well, they have petroleum, I guess. They have all the resources, but monetarily, gold and silver is important, and they spend a lot of time digging that stuff under the ground, yeah, right? You take a lot of time to get that stuff from the mines. And the mines shut down because the country is basically, in standby till the new leaders decide what to do. Roohif, you got any gold and silver?
No, I do not.
Why not?
Because I'm not a freaking doomsday prepper or something.
Oh. I think silver is going over 200, 250, even $300 an ounce. So 3 times from here. Looks like. Probably more. There's not enough silver that is gonna be on the window to people to purchase companies that need it for technology, medical devices. It's gonna be hoarded by nations.
Well, if you guys want to stay on this, but Roohif, what we were talking about before, real quick, I'll just say we don't have to go all back into it, but just the last part of like, if you agree there can be that there would have to be a deception about the flight route system and the distances currently, then all it would be is that you just wouldn't know the nature of that deception. you wouldn't know the full nature of it. And in the little amounts of distances you've checked, yeah, it checks out. You haven't actually really verified even a percentage of the entire distances that would have to actually be verified rather than just going off what they give you.
Hmm.
Like what percentages, like if of all the 100% of every distance from that exists on the Earth, what percentage of those? Yeah, okay, but I mean, if we take some like limited, put some. But anyways, yeah, I mean, technically maybe there are, but if you took like all the major points, what percentage of those would have to be off for them to be deceiving us about the flight paths and the Earth shape?
Don't know. Don't know.
Your answer should be if even one of them are off, because you got your whole Haversine formula and all the rest of it, man. Even one is off, you cooked.
Have you found one?
For Gleason, they would have to be lighting and hiding things in the Antarctica region. So if you guys want to stick to that you could do that. For the dual pole, they'll have to be hiding things around the equator in the Pacific. Not just somewhere, like something massive over there that they'd have to be hiding. For Gleason, it's the Antarctica on the globe split apart and made flat at the outer edges. For dual pole, it's the antipode of Africa, wherever you're focusing the map on, in the water somewhere, split apart and made flat. That discrepancy is the same.
Which is why Sydney to Hawaii looks silly on that map.
So you mean
not sure
like
about that one.
you mean like a land continent the size of North America that's south of the South Pole?
I have a visual I made to show it. One sec.
Ooh, so do I.
Because I mean that would match what Admiral Byrd said. So
All right. So, dual pole.
which is weird. It's like, is that the official narrative? Because I think that's what that would be classified as. And so it's weird to not accept that official narrative, but then cling on to like moon landing and heliocentrism. It almost feels like it's a little bit of picking and choosing.
There's Sydney to LAX in the chat.
Yeah, it's not that much different. I'm not saying this is what it is or whatever, but I mean, that's sort of the comparable route there. It looks pretty much the same.
What? That is the route that it travels on a globe.
Yeah, it's not that much different. I'm not saying this is what it is or whatever.